There are certain warnings passed down in a family that you don't question, not because you understand them, but because some deep, gnawing part of you senses it would be dangerous to ask. You follow the rules, even when they don't make sense, especially then, because once you see what happens when you don't, it's already too late. Before I get into the situation I am in now, I guess you need some backstory so you understand what's happening. So let me take you back when I turned 15, when this hell started.
Big day tomorrow, huh, buddy?
Said my dad while taking a sip of his hot morning coffee. Well, not really. I'm just turning 15. I'm not yet 18, Dad, I said with a chuckle.
Well, you are right, but don't forget about it,
said Dad, this time giving me a cold glare. This was unusual of him since he was usually a very warm person. Right, I said, my smile now fading. Now you probably think, what does this mean? Well, this has been going on for more generations than my dad can count. When a male of this family turns 15, they're given a list of rules they need to follow until they turn 20. Why at 15 and only till 20? I don't know, but it's definitely weird. Also, I don't know what happens if you break one of the rules since nobody from my bloodline did before. But soon enough, I'll find out since, well, I broke one of the rules. After 3 years of following them, I broke a rule and strange stuff began to happen. This happened a week ago, but lately, it's been getting worse. So I guess I'm writing this as something to be remembered by, just in case anything happens to me.
Well, you should be getting ready for school since the bus is almost here.
Dad was now so concentrated on looking at me, like he wanted to remember my every detail, that he accidentally spilled his coffee when he tried to grab the cup. Everything all right? I said, now a little worried.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll clean this up before your mom gets home. You know how she is,
he said, already reaching for the mop.
And also, I need to talk to you about it when you get home.
All right, well, I'll be on my way, I said as I headed for the door. That day, we had a science project to do, an erupting volcano that I aced, of course, with the help of my dad. But the rest of the day was pretty boring and tiring. I didn't get any homework, luckily. I guess the teachers felt good today. When I got home at 2 p.m., I went straight to the kitchen. I was hungry, and I cooked myself some fries with eggs. Of course, I overcooked the fries a little. I was still getting the gist of cooking. After I ate, I went to my room and watched a few movies and played some games on my console. Then, evening rolled around. I heard my dad knocking on the door.
You got any spare time, buddy?
Asked my dad in his usual warm voice, but there was a little worry in his tone. Yeah, Dad, you can come in, I said, knowing what he wanted to talk about.
You should clean this place a little,
he suggested as he took a quick look around. Yeah, you're not wrong, I said through a chuckle. Let me guess. It, said my dad, now looking more serious than I ever saw him. In general, he was a pretty laid-back dude. Well, tell me then.
You know all about the history of this list, correct?
Think so, I said doubtfully.
Even about the one who cursed us with it and why, right?
Said my dad with an eyebrow raised. I don't know the reason or the person who's behind all this.
Right,
said my dad, beginning the great history.
Back in the 1500 something, can't remember the exact date, but it was around that time. A member of the family we're related to, our family, you get what I'm trying to say, was a well-known thief. He was known to steal everything he could get his hands on, jewelry, food, clothes, and get away with it since he was just 15. Very agile and with good stamina. Well, this thief messed up big time one day.
This sounds like a bedtime story. I spoke with a wide smile, almost laughter.
Let me finish, kiddo,
said my dad, now becoming a little angry since I wasn't taking this seriously. Right, sorry, Dad.
As I was saying, he messed up. He found out that in the woods nearby lived an old lady who just wanted quiet time to herself, away from all the noise in the town. She had a weird amount of jewelry in her house for some reason. He knew this and decided to rob her in the nighttime the following day. The next day came, and day turned to night, and he struck. He, in a hurry, took everything he could carry, gold and iron rings with small diamonds on top, gold bracelets and necklaces, everything, and ran away undetected, or so he thought. The next day came around and he went through town, proudly telling his buddies what he had done the previous night. His buddies froze as they heard everything.
Dude, you fucked up. Yeah, man, you're dead.
What are you guys talking about? It's just an old lady. What can she possibly do? Walk after me?
Said the thief, laughing hysterically.
That lady, you imbecile, is a witch. And what you stole was her private collection, some of them crafted by herself.
That old ass? A witch? You guys must be kidding me. That grandma can barely walk. No way she's a witch.
Sleep with one eye open, friend. Sleep with one eye open,
said one of his buddies, starting to walk away along with the others.
Yeah, right. Whatever.
And he went on his way to sell the stolen goods to a guy he knew.
Dad, how do you know the exact dialogue if it's happened hundreds of years ago? I asked him, still convinced he was just trying to scare me.
Well, it's been passed down from generation to generation, and finally to us. No way I wouldn't know it since so many members of this family said the same thing. Now, may I?
Sure, go on. I was now skeptical about this being fake or not.
When he reached his so-called contact, he also asked him from where he got all this gold and jewelry, since it was the 1500s and it was extremely rare to even get a ring. When he told the guy the story, his face went pale. He immediately told him to get out of the shop and never to come back.
Jesus, fine, man, I'll leave, but it's your loss.
Only thing I'm losing is a stupid customer,
said the shopkeeper while throwing his fist up in an angry fashion. The boy went home. His parents were still away trying to sell apples, tomatoes, and other fruits, vegetables, and bread to make a penny so they could live another day. So he hid her treasures under the bed. It was 10 p.m. and he was tired from all the running around and decided to go to bed. That was the last day he was ever seen again. When the next day came, he wasn't in his bed. The underside of the bed was empty as well. His parents were devastated. They also learned that the shopkeeper went missing along with all the friends he came in contact to that day. The parents found out from a friend of his friends that he stole from the old witch and immediately stopped looking for him. They knew what she could do and would do if she was disturbed. They mourned their son's death until they died. Nobody knows what went down that night, but ever since that day, all the male children from every generation have received a list of rules at 15. Some say that that's her way of making sure that the kids are responsible. Others say it's her way of revenge. Nobody knows.
But why do only male children get the rules? I asked my dad, hoping he didn't have an answer, but the way he looked at me, it told me he had one.
Well, because boys are known to be more of rule breakers than girls. Plus, the kid that stole from her was male, so it makes sense.
He said to me, hoping I understood. And I did.
So please, he added, when you get the list tomorrow, follow every rule from there, even if some sound absurd or ridiculous, okay?
He pleaded with me. All right, fine, I will.
Thank you. Now get to bed, it's getting pretty late. Your mom and I have a big surprise prepared for you,
said my dad while he kissed my forehead. All right, thank you for telling me the history of the list. Good night.
Sleep well,
he added as he was already closing the door of my room. All right, now that you're caught up with everything, let me tell you the rules and which one I broke. When I woke up in the morning the day after, on my nightstand there was a yellow sheet of paper. The paper seemed old and dated, like it was from a book written hundreds of years ago. The edges of the paper were deckled. The writing was red, and upon closer inspection, it seemed like dried blood. I decided to read it after I ate. I think better on a full stomach. When I went to the kitchen, my parents were already waiting for me with freshly made pancakes, my favorite. As I sat down, my mother brought me my glass of milk, and my dad spoke up.
Did the rules appear?
Appear? I said, confused. Don't you guys write them? My parents looked at each other for a second and turned back to me. My mother continued.
I'm afraid not, honey. The list just appears in your room when you turn 15.
Well, that's weird,
Yeah.
said my dad.
Did you read them?
Not yet. Why?
Fuck. Put the fork down.
Said my dad, still as serious as when I entered the room. Jesus, now I can't even eat? I said, annoyed.
You can,
Continued my mom.
but on the list of rules, there may be a routine before your breakfast.
Gotta be kidding me, I said as I threw my hands up.
Wait here. I'll grab it for you and you can read it with us.
Said my dad, heading for my room. Great, I exclaimed ironically, more to myself. I wonder what happens if I don't follow the stupid rules, I said, more to myself, now becoming frustrated. But my mom heard me.
Honey, we don't know, okay? We just want the best for you, and you know that.
Yeah, whatever. As I finished saying this, my dad came back.
Here. Now read it.
Okay, Jesus. Rule number 1. Before you leave the house, open all the windows and leave them open until you come home, no matter how cold outside is or who lives with you. Rule number 2. Throughout the day, you will hear people calling you. Do not turn to the sounds, but if you do, run in a building and stay there for 5 minutes. Then leave and hurry to the place you want to get to. Rule number 3. At exactly 2 p.m., go on the street and toss a coin to the old man sitting in the corner. He will always be there waiting for you. After you toss him the coin, just turn around and leave. Do not talk to him. Rule number 4. If in the middle of the day the sun shines bright, say, "Oh Lord, thank you for the light." Rule number 5. Make sure you get home before 8 p.m. When you enter the house, there might be a strange smell. If there is one, go to the bathroom fast and say to the mirror, "You are not welcome, leave." And after, make sure to close the windows as fast as possible. If the smell is not present, then just close the windows. Rule number 6. Do not eat anything after 9 p.m. and you are allowed to drink only tap water from that hour until 7 a.m. Rule number 7. If you wake up at any time during the night and in the corner of your room there is a shadow darker than the night, close your eyes tight and don't move. It knows if you watch him. Stay like this until you feel the presence leave, then go back to sleep. Rule number 8. When you wake up in the morning, make sure there is nothing out of place in your room. If there is, make sure you fix it before you do anything else. Is that it? Asked my dad.
Yes, this is all there is. Strange. Usually members of this family get 10 rules each.
Well, maybe, I don't know, the curse is fading?
Yeah, maybe,
Said my dad.
Now go to your room and look if anything is out of place.
Oh yeah, right, I'll be back. I went to my room to check for anything strange. I checked in detail, but there was nothing disturbed, so I returned to the kitchen.
Anything out of place, honey?
Asked my mom, sounding a little worried. Nope, everything's fine, I said, satisfied that I can finally eat my breakfast. After I ate my breakfast, my parents called me in the living room.
As we said, buddy, your mom and I got you a gift,
Said my dad, motioning for me to follow them. As I came closer to the gift, I saw it was a pretty big box. I grabbed it and shook it to see if anything moved and to check its weight. The box wasn't that heavy, but it definitely had something big in it.
Well, you gonna open it up or keep shaking it till you make a milkshake?
Said my dad with a chuckle. I opened the box and what I saw inside brightened up my whole day, forgetting for a second about the rules. Inside the box was the console I wanted since I was 10, an Xbox 360, along with some games for it. I put the box on the ground and went to hug my parents tightly, thanking them deeply.
Now don't get ahead of yourself. You can play it after your homework and learning is done, and only until 10 p.m.
That's no problem for me, I said, still very happy.
Now, honey,
Added my mom.
you should be heading to school so you won't be late.
Yeah, I should, I continued as I went to grab my backpack.
And buddy,
Yelled Dad for me.
grab the list too so you make sure you don't break the rules.
Got it, Dad. Thank you. Since that day up until now, I had followed the rules like they were like the Bible, each day making sure I didn't break one. Well, that changed a week ago when I finally decided to buy a house and move out. I'd been saving money since I was 16, working jobs where I could. The house was pretty far away from my parents, but it was close to the university I got accepted in. So I said my final goodbyes, got in my car, and drove to my new house. It wasn't long before I broke a rule. After I got everything bought, bed, utensils, and the rest of the furniture, of course I didn't forget to buy a nice mirror for the bathroom in case the smell comes around. It took around a month to get all that done, and right after this, I broke the window rule. Let me explain. I woke up one morning to find out I slept more than I should have. I was supposed to get up at 7 a.m., but I slept until 8 a.m. and my shift started at 8:30. I got back, checked for any anomalies in my room, and went to eat. After I ate, I washed myself and got dressed. In my haze, I'd forgotten to open the damn windows. My day at work was weird, to say the least. Out of the edges of my vision, I could see shadows dancing in a ritual way. But when I turned to face them, there was just the boring, normal world. No shadows except for the ones of inanimate objects and people. But it got weirder. Remember the "if you hear sounds blah blah blah" rule? Well, I never heard any until this day. Worse is that they were coming from the shadows who lived on the edges of my eyes. They were faint but raspy whispers. Some I could understand.
Come here. Don't be afraid.
And
Embrace us. Come on now. Nothing to be afraid of.
but others sounded like random mumbles. I thought I was gonna go insane. The shadows dancing were even more unsettling, and the whispers became plenty the more I went through the day. One specific one caught my attention.
You should have opened your window.
I began whispering to myself. What does... As I got halfway through the sentence, it clicked. In my morning haze and sleepiness, I forgot to open the fucking windows. I needed to go home. Maybe if I open them now, it'll fix this problem. I was lucky my boss and I got along well, and he let me off early. I got home, and when I entered the house, I couldn't believe it. My furniture was turned upside down. Some glasses were on the floor, sitting there broken in hundreds of tiny pieces like a puzzle. Hell, my whole life was becoming a puzzle. I didn't bother cleaning the mess. I went and opened all the windows, and no, there was no smell this time. How lucky am I, right? But the whispers never stopped. Even as I'm writing this, they won't stop, and the things they say to make me question my sanity. Sometimes they begin yelling,
It's your fault. It's your fault. It's your fault.
over and over again. Once I broke down and said, Shut the fuck up, shut up, shut up. They stopped. For a second. Then they started laughing hysterically and maniacally. I couldn't sleep. I became more tired and started drinking. This all began last week, as I said above. I picked up the drinking a few days ago, but they're still going. Please, if someone knows what's going on, please help me. Please.